Welcome back or welcome to my channel if you're new. My name is Laura. Hi, hello, welcome. Every Friday for November is going to be a favorites Friday. November is my birthday month, and I figured why not make every Friday a little extra special and talk about my favorite things in some capacity. So today I have all of my favorite products per category in my collection, and I'm super excited to share them with you. And this is all makeup products. There is no skincare, no hair care, nothing like that. I just have a bin full of makeup in front of me to talk to you about. Before we get into it, just make sure to hit that subscribe button if favorite videos, project panning, talking about makeup is something that interests you. I would love for you to be a cutie too. I will have some pictures of like the categories in my collection over here, so you kind of get an idea of what the categories, like what the products I have to choose from are. So we'll start things off with my primer category, and my favorite primer of them all is this one here. This is the NYX Marshmallow Primer. This has marshmallow root extract in it, so it is really calming for the skin. It's very nourishing for the skin, and it does have a really whipped texture along with a very light vanilla marshmallow kind of scent, but it doesn't linger on the skin. It's just really nice. I really like how soothing it feels on my skin when I wear it. And again, it does have a bit of a whipped texture, so it does smooth the complexion out a little bit. Then my concealer category comes next to mind. My favorite concealer in my collection at the moment is not the one that I'm unofficially panning. If you missed that video, I'll link it. However, it is this guy here. This is my NYX Bare With Me Serum Concealer. I love this concealer. This is definitely my absolute favorite in my collection right now. I really like it for under the eyes. I think it just does a really great job under my eyes, especially since it's a very lightweight serum-based concealer. I have aging skin. I am in my 30s, so this does just sit a little bit better on my under eye complexion than some of my other ones do. In this color, I don't know why, I have the shade Vanilla. It fits me when I have a tan. It fits me when I have lost my tan. This is like the most magical shade for me for some reason. It's just good all year round for me. Because of the fact that I have some cream products to talk about, we'll just talk about them next. And the first, do I just want to talk about them together kind of? Because I don't really, out of my blush bronzer collection, the cream products are just like the bottom. Like, I don't like them as much. I definitely am a powder product lover. I tend to think they just look the best on my skin. These two are just the ones that are my favorite in my collection, bronzer wise and blush wise. Bronzer, I only have two cream bronzers. I just prefer the cool toned version in my collection more than the warm toned, although this does have coconut oil, coconut something in it, and it does tend to clog my skin, so I don't wear this one all the time, but I do like the shade of it. It's a nice contour shade. This is Essence Baby Got Bronze in the shade Moon Dust. It's very cool toned, very, very cool toned, almost like a gray. It looks more gray on my skin in the winter when I'm a lot more fair, but it does still look a little gray on the skin. Great contour shade. Then I have a Nude Sticks Nudies Bloom. I don't have many cream blushes in my collection. I have a couple stick forms, and 3 of them are from Nude Sticks because I got a set when I worked at Ulta for free. This is just the more neutral of the 3 shades, and I just like it the most. Again, that shade right there is the shade Sweet Cheeks, and I think it's just so pretty. It's a great everyday neutral, goes with everything kind of blush shade. My favorite foundation is actually a powder foundation, and I debated whether to put a powder foundation and a loose foundation in this video. However, when I was really looking at my foundations, this truly is just the one that I prefer out of the 3 or 4 I have in my collection. This is the BareMinerals Original Foundation. I have this in the shade Golden Ivory. This is actually the foundation I'm wearing today. I have a IT Cosmetics concealer on, and then I topped it with this foundation, and I think my skin looks pretty good. I always really appreciate the BareMinerals loose foundations when I feel like my skin is a little bit more congested, and especially after traveling, because I am filming this right after we got back from Vegas. You'll be seeing it later in the month. But I always feel like when I have congested skin, this just always looks so good on my skin. Becoming a fast favorite of mine is another powder. This is not necessarily a foundation powder. This is a finishing powder. This is the Charlotte Tilbury Flawless Airbrush Flawless Finish Complexion. Airbrush Flawless Finish. Man, I can't. This is the Airbrush Flawless Finish Complexion Perfecting Micro Powder in the shade Medium. This is a bit of a light shade for a medium shade, I'm not going to lie, but I think Charlotte Tilbury does run a little light. So this just works really, really well, and I think the reason I like this powder in particular for just like a finishing all over the face kind of powder is because it's so firmly pressed in the pan that you really can't go overboard with the powder. Like sometimes I tend to go overboard when I have kind of everything on my face. The fact that this is so hard pressed makes it almost impossible to be too heavy-handed with it, which I really, really appreciate. Then I have my accessory complexion products is what I like to call them. That's my blush, my bronzer, my highlight kind of thing. So an item you've been seeing a few times this year because it's in a project pan, as well as my 24 in 2024. My favorite highlight in my collection right now is Rodeo Drive from the Ofra Feelin' Myself trio. And I think part of it is because it's such a great everyday kind of shade. It's this more gold one that you've been seeing me pan recently. But it's also just such a great shade and a great formula of highlight, in my opinion. I really like these Ofra highlights. They are a little bit more blinding, but they do really glide on the skin in such a lovely way. I'm not wearing it today. I'm wearing a cool tone, colorful highlight today, actually. But I've been really going hog wild with Rodeo Drive. It is something I will truly miss once it's out of my collection. However, I know I have other shades, if not exactly like this, I have similar enough shades where they're going to look shiny and beautiful on my skin. But right now, I am just loving this one so unbelievably much. This one is a newer product in my collection, and again, it's just such a great tone that it's quickly climbed the ranks in my favorite bronzer category, and that is the AOA Perfect Bronze, the AOA Studio Perfect Bronze. Yeah, this is the shade Latte. This is such a nice, neutral, not shimmery, just matte bronzer. I tend to find myself really liking matte cheek products. Apart from highlight, I like a matte blush. I like a matte bronzer. I want my cheek highlight to be the unbelievably shiny, beautiful thing. So I've really been enjoying this. If you like a matte bronzer, I think you actually would really like these AOA ones. And another product that's newer to my collection, this came into my life in June, July, sometime in the summertime. And it's quickly moved up the ranks again in my blush category. I did not expect to put a full-blown like blush palette as my favorite blush. However, I've just really fallen in love with these Lunar Beauty blush palettes. That is so hard to say altogether. However, I've really enjoyed these Lunar Beauty blush palettes. This in particular is the Moon Prism one. And I've been really enjoying this shade here, Pink Moon, this shade here, and Stargaze and Twilight. Really, again, these matte, cooler or warmer, cool, lighter shades. This shade here, Soleil, is so pretty. This is kind of like that NARS Orgasm-y kind of shade where it has a little bit of a sheen. Not my absolute favorite when it comes to blush. However, I like that I have the option to do a more sheen kind of blush. These two I just haven't dove into because it's been so warm and I've been wanting to wear these more bright pops. However, I feel like in the fall, these are gonna take the cake, especially Spacey. I don't even think I've used that yet. Oh, I'm so excited for that shade. Complexion product we have to talk about is setting sprays, and I actually recently finished a setting spray that was my true favorite in my collection. Shout out to the NYX Bare With Me, love you. But in terms of the other setting sprays in my collection, I really have been liking the Tarte Shape Tape Stay Spray. This has a decent mist, very similar to that NYX Bare With Me setting spray. However, this is almost like you feel it feels more choppy than the NYX one just glides into like this beautiful spray. However, this is still a really nice setting spray. It has a really, I like the scent. It kind of smells like cucumbers in my opinion. So maybe if you hate cucumbers, you'd hate this, but I've really been enjoying the Tarte Shape Tape Stay Spray. Man, I'm getting very tongue-tied today. Whoo, baby. Eyes. Let's finish up the eyes next. And I'm not talking about primers or anything like that because I simply don't have more than one type of primer. I have my Ulta Beauty matte eye primer, which I've gone through like 6 or 7 tubes of. That is my absolute favorite, so maybe shout out to that. And then the NYX Glitter primer, which again is just a staple in my collection too. So in terms of like loose eyeshadow, cream eyeshadow, eyeliners, those are the products we're going to be talking. They're the products I have multiples of at any given time, not like my one-offs, like my primers, mascara kind of things. Out of my cream eyeshadows, that includes my About Face Matte Fluid Eye Paints, my KVD Vegan Beauty Dazzle Sticks, my Natasha Denona Duochrome Topper Pot, because I do count that as like almost a cream product. Those are my creams. Out of those items, this reigns supreme. This is the KVD Dazzle Stick, and this is in the shade Electro Bolt. There is something absolutely so magical about this shade in particular, and really this shade in particular. I did buy one of the newer ones that is not that good in comparison, but this one, Electro Bolt, first of all, I actually have used a decent amount of that, if you can see down in there. I know it's not like the most used, but in terms of like the scope of my collection, I feel like that's a decent amount used. And this is just so pretty. You don't need to push hard with it. It's just so gorgeous. Oh my gosh, I need to use this more. And it feels like cool to the touch because it is wet, and it just layers so nicely. It blends simply with a finger or like a brush, something like that. This is also something that I scribble onto the tips of my fingers and dab it onto my eyelid, and it just looks so good, and it looks like I put so much effort into an eye look when really I just slapped something like this on the lids and like called it a day. They're so good. So moving on to loose eyeshadows, we go from cream and then we're going to our loose, and I have my BareMinerals, I have a MAC pigment, I have Ensley Rain, I have Shop Mellolops Neons. I have a few different loose varieties in my collection, and currently my favorite one of them all is this Ensley Rain, any of these Ensley Rain ones in particular. However, I went with this one here, which is Sunset Aura. It's just a pink that has red, purple, orange. It's just so pretty. It's such a pretty shade. I'll get a swatch of this one too. I appreciate the fact that there's like a stopper mechanism within this loose eyeshadow, so you don't have to just go crazy with it. Let's just do that. It's just so cool. You can really sheer it out like I did to get more of a base shade. It looks so orange and yellow from my angle. It looks so pink on camera. It's such a beautiful shade. Then eyeliner wise, I have this eyeliner here, which is my absolute favorite, like traditional eyeliner. This is the LA Girl Shockwave liner in Fresh. I am obsessed with this color in general. If you know, you know. It's a lot of my channel elements are this color because I love a mint teal. This one is just so nice. It's a great eyeliner color. This is one of the better formulas in the Shockwave liners, in my opinion. There were some that were like sheer and didn't show up on the lid, some that dried off quickly. This one, for some reason, it's like dried out the least amount of times. It's my favorite color. It's a great formula. It's nice and creamy. Wrapping things up with my lip products. And the first item you'll have seen me talk about in my end of year project pan. This has quickly become one of my favorite types of this product. Lip liner. This is the Colourpop BFF3 Lippy Pencil. This I put into my end of year project pan just because I was like, I need to focus on this. This is my oldest lip liner by far. I don't know what switch has flipped, but I flippin' love this thing now. I'm wearing it today with this NYX. This is Milky Gloss. I actually really like that pairing, especially with cooler toned eye looks. But this is the BFF3 Colourpop Lippy Pencil. It is a dark chocolatey brown. It is something that I need to be sparing on my complexion. Otherwise, it does look very dramatic on my lips. However, I can wear it and sheer it out with just lip glosses, nice nude lip glosses, and it looks really pretty. And I've really enjoyed reaching for this way more than I ever have previously. This is also kind of a cool color because I have used this as that like cheek kind of like, I've used it as a cheek bronzer contour kind of thing, and it's actually worked pretty well for that. Closing things off on this video with my favorite lip product in general. And if you watched my more recent from like August, September favorites video, you would have seen me talk about these, but I feel like I need to mention them because again, they are my absolute favorites. I mention them often. Whenever I talk about lip products, I talk about these. I find a way to mention my favorite in some way. And these are the Tarte Maracuja. I have the Lip Plump and the Juicy Shift. I love these. I received the Juicy Plump in gratis for free when I worked at Ulta, and I loved this so much that I ended up purchasing the Juicy Shift. And I keep saying it, these things live rent-free in my mind. I think I am actually going to bite the bullet and buy a couple more of these because they're just so good. They feel nourishing on the lips. Like the Shift one doesn't really have a plumping sensation, but it does feel really nourishing on the lips. It is so thick. It really is juicy. The Shift ones do have that like gimmicky pH balancy thing. So like in the top, you can maybe see there's like a bit of pink in there when it's very green. It does turn pink on the lips because it is one of those pH reacting kind of products. But the Juicy Plump is just in the shade that it says it is. This one is in mixed berries. You can't see it because it's covered in green when I worked at Ulta. But oh, I just love these so much. I'm gonna put it on top. It's fine. They're just so good. There's just something so nourishing about these. They do have a bit of that coconut scent to them because I believe there is coconut oil in these. I could be wrong. If you're allergic to coconut, maybe don't get these. However, I really, really love them. And that, my friends, those are the products that I love in my collection. These are the top dog items that reign supreme in my makeup stash. I love these the most out of the things I have per category. Not necessarily the most, because my eyeshadows are always my favorite. Eyeshadows are always my favorite products, period. But these are like my favorite items per category in my collection. Let me know some of your favorite items in your collection. It doesn't have to have any rhyme or reason. You want to tell me about your favorite makeup brushes? Please do. You want to tell me about the random sponges you love or like some random products? If we want to get random, y'all, I love one of my unsung heroes, my little makeup fan. I use this thing all the time, every single day I do my makeup. But that is it for this video. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you guys are staying healthy, sane, and safe. I'll catch you on Sunday for another video, but I'll see you next Friday for a favorites again. I will catch you in the next video. Bye.